You've probably never been taught in your lifetime to make sure to fight, bite, scratch, pull hair out so they can find DNA evidence somewhere.
No. Nope. It's like a common. Heard that before. Like
it's oral tradition.
I've heard it once or twice. I didn't know if it was like a widespread. That makes me sad because it's sad that society and culture and men, even if it's the minority of men who have left a really bad mark, like, yeah, it makes me really sad because my kids are younger and innocent, and at some point, they're all girls, so at some point they're all gonna have something similar. And it just makes me sad because it's almost like when you're watching someone have fun, but you have to give them bad news, and you want to just watch them have fun for a little bit longer. Because you know what you're going to tell them is going to change them forever, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. What about pockets? Because someone said, wait till you tell them about pockets. Go ahead.
Women's pants, a lot of times pockets are for show and they're sewn shut. Especially in the back. Sometimes you can rip the seam open and it turns into a pocket, but other times it's just a faux pocket. A lot of jeans do have pockets in the back, but there are a lot of dress pants, other types of pants that it's all a show. That's why, do you ever see girls be like, yeah, it's got pockets?
Yeah, I knew pants had shallower pockets than men's jeans.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're like very, very thin, or they just don't exist.
No pocket, like fake pocket. It's not the no pockets for me, it's the fake pockets.
They go the extra mile to make them fake.
Yeah, that's puzzling.
What?
Look at mom.
Look at mom. Are you, ooh, you're dancing.
Look at mom.
Now tell them why we don't have pockets.
Oh my gosh.
Women had next to no access to money or property, so it was deemed that they didn't need functional pockets if their husbands had pockets. So some say it's a way to keep women powerless. If they had no way to secretly carry items around, it would be harder for them to travel independently or conduct affairs. In the witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries, women accused of practicing witchcraft were believed to use hidden pockets to smuggle potions and herbs. This association with the dark arts only added to the taboo surrounding women's pockets. Fast forward to the French Revolution, and pockets took on a political meaning. Women were actually banned from having pockets as they were seen as a potential way to hide revolutionary material.
The men weren't banned from having pockets?
No! The idea was that without pockets, women would be less likely to participate in political and social activism. It wasn't until the 1970s, when women regularly wore pants, and especially blue jeans, that females moved a step closer to pocket equality.
It's been a long road.
Patriarchy pockets.
But
Patriarchy pockets.
a lot of women's clothing still remain without pockets. The size of a woman's pocket is on average 48% shorter and 7% narrower than a typical man's.
I've seen that.
About 400 years ago, pockets were sewn into men's clothing, but this same feature was omitted from female garments. Like women used to wear like tied on pockets, I guess, under their dress, or historians that say that they had those pouches, under their dresses and stuff, and they used to hide things in there from their husbands and other people.
Okay.
Sometimes gifts from lovers, sometimes all kinds of stuff. Well, then slimmer silhouettes became more popular, corsets and stuff. They couldn't even wear those. They pushed for pocket equity. Pocket equity began in the late 1800s.
Okay.
The Rational Dress Society, founded in 1891, rallied women to dress for comfort and health by ditching constrictive corsets and donning comfy, useful clothing. Suffrage movement gained traction. Pockets became a symbol of the change women were seeking. Women who have previously been forced to carry their possessions in inconvenient, impractical ways began demanding clothing with pockets. Pockets thus represented not only practicality, but also autonomy and freedom. Even the smallest details can have significant social and political implications. The lack of pockets in women's clothing is not just a practical inconvenience, but a feminist issue. Women aren't listened to, that's the problem. They're not. There is the stereotype of they're over dramatic, they're over emotional. Oh, who's to say it wasn't consensual?
So you're telling me, this is a little shocking, you're telling me that the police force doesn't take women's assault or like domestic violence seriously and investigate more? Like that's a thing?
They just don't. We've got freaking Brock Turner, who was witnessed assaulting a woman, and he got walk free because he had so much potential.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
And then what about her life's potential?
Well,
What about other
exactly.
women's life's potential that he could potentially do this again?
Yes. But then you've got people like that Micah girl who has police reports with tracking devices, with tire popping devices that were witnessed by multiple people. We're saying over and over, I'm afraid he's going to me, and there's not sufficient evidence to investigate him.
They never pull a warrant for his house or his phone.
It has to be due process too. She's got to file a restraining order. She's got to go in front of a judge.
That takes a lot of
It takes
time.
too much time.
Yeah.
Women die in the in-between. Problem too with stalking and all that stuff is there's not physical altercation there sometimes. It's funny because like a bar fight, much more likely to get arrested from
Yeah.
than stalking, tracking, slashing tires without like
Yeah.
really getting caught.
And that's much more thought out. That's more dangerous.
And it's awful. That even this morning when I pulled in from bringing the kids to school, I sat in the car for a while, and it was just like a casual thought on a Tuesday morning, oh, I should get out of my car, and I've been in here for a while. Out of caution, in case somebody was watching.
I sit in my car often, like if I'm like getting ready to leave Menards. I'll sit and relax for a few minutes and watch something on my phone or whatever. I don't think twice about it. I don't even might have my door locked when I do it.
Wow.
It's really mind blowing. It's really messing me up. It's mind blowing to me that we really live in different worlds. Like the world is one thing to me and it's different. It's something totally different to you.
Yeah, like that one park I want to go to that's isolated a little bit. I won't go alone with my
Yeah,
kids.
like that's your like your subjective experience of the world. That world looks this way to you. But that's not the world I live in. The world looks this way to me because that's my experience in it.
And why do you think a lot of guys don't want to see the reality or accept that as the world women lives in?
I'm just spitballing. I think probably some guys are closed-minded because it's not my experience in the world and I haven't seen that. I haven't heard of that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or they think they know their friends and all the men that they know, and they're like, well, men aren't like that. Maybe it's a very small minority. Maybe because you don't know your neighbor as well as you think you do. Think you know them, so you reject the idea outright. Or maybe you have less emotion tied to it because of porn. If you watch a lot of porn and your brain's been wired a certain way and you don't have as human a view of women, that it's just going to feel more like a number. You know, I wonder if porn to men has become the Roman Colosseum, where you watch gladiators fight, suffer, and die for your entertainment. So now you watch women have violence acted towards them for entertainment. They're just the gladiators, and porn is the Colosseum.
And I think that the more of that media that you consume, some of those lines that are absolutely deplorable are very blurred. More acceptable to heckle. It's more acceptable to coerce. It's more acceptable to do those things, make jokes, etc. But I'm not the guy that goes all the way. The guy that just makes jokes. They see it so disconnected from the issue. Only 10% of people get convicted at trial.
90% sort of zero.
About 41% receive a variance sentence, which you know how it's like, this is the penalty under law, right? 41% of those people get less.
10% that are convicted. Essentially half, sort of less than what the handbook says. So really 5% essentially
Actually serve.
serve the time that is
Yeah.
set forth in the procedure.
You have to weigh the costs, because here's the thing: if you go and he's not convicted, then he's free, living in your community.
Yeah, how do you live your life after that? You're almost in a position where you feel forced to move because the legal system didn't do his job.
Yes.
But it's like, on top of the intense trauma from that, then if he's not convicted, you have to move. Then you're leaving your support.
Well, and that's assuming you have the privilege to move.
True, but if you can't afford to move,
Steals people's entire lives.
I want to know how do you fix that?
Good men need to stop bad men.
Yeah. I wonder what percent of guys that do this tell a male friend that they actually did it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And what's that male friend doing? You're
Yeah.
not going to say anything? You're going to protect your boy?
You keep company with like-minded people.
That's a bad man. The one who doesn't say anything, bad man.
Only 10% of people get convicted at trial.
90% sort of zero.
About 41% receive a variance sentence, which you know how it's like, this is the penalty under law, right? 41% of those people get less.
10% that are convicted, essentially half, sort of less than what the handbook says.
Mm-hmm.
So really 5%, essentially,
Actually serve.
serve the time that is
Yeah.
set forth in the procedure.
You have to weigh the costs, because here's the thing: if you go and he's not convicted, then he's free, living in your community.
Yeah, how do you live your life after that? You're almost in a position where you feel forced to move because the legal system didn't do his job.
Yes.
But it's like, on top of the intense trauma from that, then if he's not convicted, you have to move. Then you're leaving your support.
Well, and that's assuming you have the privilege to move.
True, but if you can't afford to move,
Steals people's entire lives.
I want to know how do you fix that?
Good men need to stop bad men.
Yeah. I wonder what percent of guys that do this tell a male friend that they actually did it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And what's that male friend doing? You're
Yeah.
not going to say anything? You're going to protect your boy?
You keep company with like-minded people.
That's a bad man. The one who doesn't say anything, bad man.
Well, we were talking about emotional intelligence and being aware and stuff, and how that can be lonely as a guy. And I used to think that just guys didn't talk about things. You know, guys don't talk about things. But now I'm wondering if it's the guys don't think about things. And that's a bit more frightening. And if I'm talking like more selfishly, because like, if there are less guys that think like me, and there's less potential meaningful friendships that way. Whereas if I just thought, hey Juniper, no hitting. Say sorry, Mona. Thank you. Yeah, it's more discouraging to think there's less potential friendships if it's not just that guys aren't talking about it, but they don't think about it. So there's less like compatibility. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
But also frightening because, you know, if less men are aware and emotionally intelligent, that's just also not good for society. Not good for women. It's not good for society. Because if you have less emotionally intelligent men, it means you have less emotionally intelligent leaders, because most leaders in politics and business and stuff are men. I do think millennials are better than previous generations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get some credit there.
Hearing these stats makes me look at guys that I do not know in particular, and the ones I do know, but mainly the ones I don't know. Like, what are they? I don't know you, so what are they?
And that's what a lot of women feel like.
I wonder how many women have thought that about me. You know what percent of of married women have experienced that? Did you already say that percent?
Seeing variations up to like 17%. 1 in 10 to 2 in 10.
So, okay.
And you said 80-something% or so with that person.
83% report it with their current spouse.
Saying like 10% of married people.
Sure.
80-something% of that. Right?
Yes.
So 10. So really, it's like 8-point-something% of married women are currently with a partner who has done that to them.
You got to take into consideration it's probably underreported in even these statistics, but yes.
Get 100 married women together, at least 8 of them.
At least 8 of them from their spouse, and 1 in 4 in general.
Shit, yeah, no wonder you lock your doors and stuff. I don't think it's ever quite hit home as hard with women or with minorities, after you brought that up. They live in a different world. Well, how do you fix the problem?
Well, you got to change the men, or you got to change the policies.
Easier to change the policies. The system, like, if nothing else, is too slow. It is not efficient at weeding out the truth, and efficient at putting protections in place. You're not going to change the psychology of a large group of people, but just, my gosh, cowardice.
Well, and it's a cowardice, too, of just not dealing with your crap. Because you know these guys are doing it because they're not right in the head. But they're not taking responsibility to deal with their problems, that they have to outsource all their trauma onto somebody else. They have to imprint their trauma onto somebody else.
Counseling and therapy is a privilege because it's expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to look like that.
But
even
again, policy and the fact of, like, there needs to be, like, good resourcing for that. And there needs to be awareness that men can get help.
But you know what? It's more important to fund all of our foreign military bases. And it's more important to fund foreign wars. And it's more important to subsidize corporations. You know, I'm sorry, that's still just more important, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Everything is so wrong.
People are very afraid you're broken. People are very afraid that I have broken you.
Me?
Yeah. Everything is so wrong that it's like hopeless feeling.
I've been going through waves of that with this, but also like with politics and economics, in public education, secondary education, student loans, inflation, housing. You know, I've been going through this for months.
I know.
And months and months and months. Form of deconstruction, isn't it?
Well, you're deconstructing patriarchy partially here.
Because, like, me being broken, right? Does it mean that I'm broken or it's a permanent state? It's a step in the process of deconstructing something. That you deconstruct things that you thought you knew in the way that you thought the world was. You reconstruct into a new worldview.
There needs to be a massive deconstruction movement.
People just try to paint you like you're crazy. It's an ad hominem attack because they can't attack your facts; they attack you. Picture these women when they were little girls. Like nobody expects their life to turn out that way.
Yeah.
What were they like when they were Mona's age? You know? Or Ayla's age or Eden's age, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's still who they are, you know? They're that person, you know, that's part of them. That's... And it's like, how do you get out of that situation, you know? Ironically, the shirt I'm wearing today.
Girl dad. Well, it has changed your view on having those girls.
Yeah, it has. 4 of them. I can't think about that with them right now.
Now, this is just the United States and married women. That's what we're talking about here. United States married women. 1 in 10 experience that. So if you've got 10 friends, statistically, If you know 10 men, statistically speaking, one of their wives is experiencing that. There's more than 10 men in this restaurant right now.
Good, how are you? She's in the car. She's doing good. She's 15 years old
I
now.
know a lot more than 10 married men. A lot more.
Than 10 married men? Yeah.
So, like, even with the sample size being small, so the stats are less accurate the smaller the sample size. But if I know 20, still probably one of them.
Do you know what makes you more at risk? There's a bunch of things. Do you know what it is? Recovering from an illness, pregnancy, being married to someone who views you as property, of course. But those just like life events.
Where you're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And would you like a Coke, tea, juice, or
Oh, domestic violence goes way up with pregnancy too. Yeah.
creamy chicken with
Yeah, if you're with an angry man, or if you're with a man that is somewhat violent, chances are they're going to get more violent if you get pregnant. If they already feel like they own you, man, they feel like they really own you if your baby's inside them. Do you know what the leading cause of death is in the U.S. for a woman who's pregnant?
I know I don't. I don't even have a clue.
Like, what was like the first thing that came to mind? Maybe.
Preeclampsia.
Okay,
Is-
it's not that.
But that's a fair one, right?
I actually am kind of impressed that was on the menu. So,
Yeah.
you got another big word for me? I'm just messing with you.
Blood clot.
Yeah, it's men.
Like,
But we can't say that word on TikTok. Femicide. It's men schmurdering women. In 2022, that became the leading cause of unaliving during pregnancy. 77% of those unalivings occur in the first trimester. Before 2022, it was the second leading cause. Some states, they are seeing schmurders are increasing from DV, but reported DV is decreasing.
I need to sit with that for a second. Oh my God.
Harvard study done in 2022 found that 20% of women who pass away while they're pregnant is due to being unalived, usually by an intimate partner.
I would have thought that. I never would have thought that. So I think that happens at that rate, you know? Like, that is just, gosh. Well, the leading cause of death for women who are pregnant is man takes her out. Gosh.
A lot of different reasons for that. Some is because maybe the pregnancy is unwanted, because there's increase in violence when women are vulnerable or maybe not willing to or not able to put out like they used to.
It's disgusting and disgraceful and reprehensible. Sociologically and psychologically, it's so unmasculine. To commit such an act, you cannot control the rage inside of you, which is very much like a small boy, or can't process through it healthily or get it out healthily, who are being so self-serving and selfish to like get out of your problem. You're not acting like a man when you do that. You're acting like something else. Whether you call that, disfigured image of what a man is. Like that is like it's very, very disgraceful and very, very ugly and dark.
Do you know why chainsaws were originally invented?
Like I've heard it before, but I can't remember it.
People have been begging for this.
What?
Chainsaws
I can't remember.
Were originally invented to cut the pubic bone. Their babies were having a hard time coming out. So that was a hand cranked one, not an electric one. So
if you didn't do it fast enough.
It was hand cranked. They used to use basically crude scissors, but it was very difficult to get to the baby, and so they just found it easier to cut the pubic symphysis. When the electric chainsaw was invented?
No.
The 1920s. The 1920s.
Wait, how long was this used for pelvic bone?
Started in like the 1550s. It was several hundred years. It's very, very high risk and thus very rare. But basically the theory was it's better to have a motherless child than a childless mother. Do you think the women routinely survived that?
No.
Do you think unalived the woman?
Sepsis? Infection?
Yeah.
Like a linger in it.
Till sepsis.
That's just barbaric.
Okay, well, are you ready? You were a C-section baby, but they used a nice, sharp little scalpel on you.
We were talking about the leading cause of women passing away in pregnancy in a lot of states. Pregnancy prevents you from getting a divorce. You can't get a divorce if you're pregnant. It cannot be finalized or anything like that when you're pregnant. You'd be surprised the states that have them.
I'm totally
Arizona, Arkansas, California, Texas, Alabama, Delaware, Hawaii, Indiana, Maine, Mississippi, Nebraska,
Not Illinois.
South Dakota, and Wyoming. Judges will likely make couples wait until the baby's born before they allow a divorce.
I'm shocked at California. That is very archaic.
It's banned in California.
Divorcing when pregnant?
Yes. And some of those other states I mentioned, it's not necessarily there's a ban, but most likely you're not going to get it. I'll show you the map. Red is banned. Orange is no ban, but good luck. Yellow is no ban.
I can't believe this is real. I can't believe this is real either. You're sharing a lot of things that do not seem like they should be real. It's like I'm living in Handmaid's Tale.
People think women are being dramatic when they reference that they're living that reality.
This is wild. I've never heard of this. It's like I'm living in Handmaid's Tale. This is wild. I've never heard of this.
Let's get that straight. 20% of all women who pass away during pregnancy are unalived by somebody else, usually an intimate partner. However, it is hard to get a divorce when you are pregnant. Red is banned. Orange is no ban, but good luck. And then yellow is no ban.
That's crazy.
Kind of a crazy thing. I mean, I think one thing they could do to decrease that number, make it to where it's not banned to get a divorce when you're pregnant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so stupid.
You look at the quality of men in the world to marry in the first place, okay? Like the amount of men that are quality men. They are out there. I'm not saying they're not out there. Then you think of all the risks for a woman to get married, that they're betting on you being a quality man. Because guess what? If they get in a situation, the chances of you being their demise is high. These assaults, these unalivings, it's not stranger violence. It's usually somebody you know. So no, it doesn't happen to all women. And no, not all men are bad. You don't know. And that's the problem.